Your culture isn't broken. Your middle management is. That's right. I said it. It's not your culture. It is your middle management. Every time a CEO tells me, "Hey, Phil, I need you to come help me sort out my culture. I think I have a culture problem." In the past, I would say, "Yeah, let's go 3 days. Let's do our thing. Let's get our culture in." These days, with maturity and a little bit of gray hair and wisdom, the first thing I ask them is a simple question. I said to them, "Hey, tell me, before we do this, give me what happened the last time one of your middle managers brought you a genuinely serious problem in form of bad news, okay? And tell me what you did, not what you wanted or what the structure says, but I want you to tell me when you were given really bad news, like a missed target or lost a great employer or lost a great account, whatever it is, a client relationship going down. I want you to tell me when that team member brought it to you, what actually happened? How did you speak to them? Did you listen to them for surfacing it and thanking them for it? Or did you immediately, because you're the leader, jump into solution mode? Okay, it was so fast, it felt like you were criticizing them because that is your job. You're like, you know what, I got to do this. And you subtly, probably subtly signed or signaled to them, not with words, but with your tone or with your body language. You kind of give them this kind of feel of, hey, you should have caught this sooner, or you could have done better. Because how you responded in that particular moment, that's what your culture is. As a matter of fact, I want you to go back to that moment and be honest with yourself, because the truth will set us free every day. Okay. And I want you to answer what you actually did, not what the values said on the wall. No, answer it honestly. What was that moment? How did you respond? Because when I ask that question, then I get to the truth of whether it is a culture problem or it's a middle management problem. Okay, because the middle management layer in any organization is the most important transmission mechanism. Okay, it transmits from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. The guys who are on the front line come through and the top comes through. And today, I'll tell you a great example. Today, I spoke to a leader. Again, when I'm up and about and doing my sessions, I like to engage with everybody because you get to understand what's going on. And I spoke to a middle management leader, and this person is in the let us say operation side of things. And I was talking to them about their report. They're supposed to do a report, and they were saying, "Oh man, I'm trying to reconfigure the report." Da, 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 da. I'm saying, "Okay, you look stressed. What's up?" He says, "Yeah, I've got to find a way to make sure that when I present my information, that the leaders are not going to feel that they are being attacked." I said, "Why do they need to be? Why do they need to feel attacked if it's the truth?" Say, "Oh, you have no idea. The guys that we work with, man, this, that, and then it went down the road, and I was thinking, wow, look at the culture of that organization. This guy has got to make sure the information is palatable to the people he's giving it to. So just think about that. Just think about that. He has got to filter it and sanitize it and massage it and make it fluffy enough so that it doesn't upset the people above him." Now, this is where I say that it's not a culture problem. It's a middle management problem that you, the CEO, you, the leaders, have actually created. Because the middle management layer in an organization is a filtering system. And depending on how you have treated them for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, will determine how much they sanitize information and how much it affects your culture. Okay? And if they filter information because they don't want to hurt your fragile egos and they don't want to upset so and they don't want to look bad, just imagine what kind of information you're getting. Because the middle management is where the CEO's intent gets translated to the front line. And it's where the front line's reality, what's going on in the market, gets translated back to the CEO. So if that layer is healthy and truth telling and it flows well and everything comes through nice unfiltered, problems surface early, good news or bad news arrives quickly on time, same rate, because the system isn't filtering for palatability or for comfort of the or for protection of the egos at the top, then you have a great culture. But when that layer is unhealthy, and in most organizations you go to, it is unhealthy. Something very specific happens when it is, okay? And you will find that the information that travels upwards is sanitized. It's politically adjusted to make sure it doesn't ruffle any feathers at the top there. Okay, it is representative of what the middle believes the top wants to hear rather than what is actually happening. Now you imagine which actually this means that the CEO is making decisions based on a filtered reality. Basically, it's not the truth. And I want to say that again. It is giving the CEO information from which they make decisions that are based on the filtered truth, not the real truth. Do you understand why there will be a drag in how you are moving as an organization? And the filter was built not intentionally, not maliciously, by the CEO and leaders themselves. Through these years of accumulated signals about what kind of news was safe and what kind wasn't, and which day do you go, which day don't you, when are they in the mood, when are they not in the mood, that is not a middle management problem. That is a culture problem that was created from the top. I want that to sink in. Because the leadership architecture that is designed to have egos protected is always going to create a crappy culture. The middle management layer is behaving perfectly rationally inside the system you've built for them, and that is the culture within which they operate, both from top to bottom and from bottom to top. You just imagine the kind of information they take back to the rest of the team. So what if the culture conversation has been pointing in the wrong direction all this time? What if the question isn't, how do we fix our culture? Maybe the question should be different. Maybe the question should be, how are we as leaders, CEOs, behaving consistently? How are we creating safe spaces for our people to give us information through? Because culture, real culture, is it's not that aspiration or version. No, it's not what you say you want. No. It's the precise, faithful reflection of what you have actually rewarded, tolerated, and modeled. And how we behave when no one is watching, when no one is in the room, but those collective behaviors when nobody seems to be watching every day, for years, for months, that is what creates the foundation of our culture. The problems that surface later in your organization rather than earlier, that's a culture that has been modeled by you, the leaders. It's because somewhere along the way, people learned that surfacing problem earlier has got a cost. Now, I want you to go back and find that moment when somebody brought you bad news. How did you respond? Great leaders love bad news. Great leaders encourage people to bring bad news quicker, faster. Why? So that they can find solutions quicker, faster.